Hey, what is going on, guys? It's Crimson Feral. Welcome back to the channel, and in today's video we will be doing BJR5. If you're new to the channel and you're just looking this up for a guide, or if you were, if it was in your search bar on the side or whatever, definitely remember to subscribe. Definitely helps me out, and I have a lot of other content on the channel at this point that hopefully I'll be able to help you in a considerable amount of ways. So with that out of the way, I finally found a public raid team that works. That should be probably the #1 disclaimer for BJR5. Once you finally figure out how to get all the runes to work, the effective HP, your Bailigar hitting hard enough, any little glitches that the team can have, because there are some little glitches that'll go over that the team can have, you finally are able to go into Rift Raid, and then you get with people that their Bailigar is built wrong, or a plethora of other things are going on. So I have a very standard team here. Shihua lead, I have the Dagora here, and there's a strange little glitch where if Dagora is level 1, sometimes Colleen will not use skill 3, so I just brought him to level 2 right away. He just needs to be between level 2 and level 5. Some people don't have that glitch at all. It's totally possible that yours is at level 1 if you guys already have the team or you're looking into it, and you won't have that glitch at all, or you've never had it or whatever. It's totally possible, but it's not bad to just bring them between level 2 and 5 just to make sure that it never happens. And then your basic leads. She was completely free to play. You get her from the Guild Magic Shop. The same thing here, Rakshasa. You can get her from the Guild Magic Shop. You can fuse Lupinus, the Wind Magic Knight, for the crit rate lead. And then in this team we have the Tagaros. You can also get the Akali. They farm from the same scenario. They drop from the same place. So whichever one you get first is your fire crit rate lead. So the leads are very simple to get. Luckily, I'm in Rift Raid with people that are competent right now. That's why I made it now. I've had to try to make this video multiple times because their teams weren't. They were just wrong. There was something wrong with the Bailigar or the support units setting up. So we'll take a look here. The turn order needs to be the exact same every time, or you'll have issues. So the boss will always go first, and then your leader skill in Dagora will die. Colleen will buff and with attack, and then heal up or whatever. The Lauren will then defense break and speed slow, or the HP block will come up. Either one, doesn't matter that much which skill she uses. So mine used the first skill first, and then her second skill second. It's again, it doesn't matter. The Bailigar isn't going to do more damage based on debuffs anyway. And then you go into the Bailigar for that for the end of the first set of turns. So these runs go so fast that it's hard to explain everything that happens in like 5 seconds. But anyway, again, Colleen will go first. She will take she'll buff the attack in the team. You can use Fran here too. I would recommend using Colleen. And then Lauren goes, and then the Bailigar goes. Mine hits for 34k, so that's pretty helpful. You're supposed to hit for 32.7 or something, so that all 3 people, if they hit for 32.5 or 7 or 3, somewhere in the 32,000 range, everyone needs to be hitting in. But definitely just go for a higher amount. It just makes sense to. And then on that second run, you get the Dark Viking that comes in and revives everything, and then Lauren gets a skill off again, breaks defense, and then the Bailigar goes for the Apocalypse skill again. So as nice as it was to find people that actually know how to do Rift Raid, I do need to show you guys the runes now. So we can hop into here, and we will start with the leader skills. Shihua here, you just want to make sure it's complete crap. You don't need to level her up. I mean, she can be level 40, or not level 40, that would mean she's a 6-star. She can be 6-starred. I think she has low enough base stats. My Lupinus actually has low enough base stats just naturally that I was able to get horrifically bad runes on her. And it was like, I had to make sure, like, this is almost too much defense. You need to have like no HP, no defense, anything like that in here at all. But yeah, this is low enough that she dies in the first thing literally coming into the boss. The boss does the first attack, and before your team can get any skills off, she's already dead. So it can work there, but it's better to just keep them at level 1 for these ones. So it's just basic will stuff. And then the other one is I did a tag or os here, so just again just crap, whatever. You don't want like as little speed as possible is what's best. And then the second unit in the team that needs to be the slowest is the Jansen. These are his stats here. I have him at 5-star. I would recommend, if you have a Colleen at 6-star, leaving the Dark Viking at a 5-star level and just getting the runes correct for your Colleen, because she needs to die on the second attack anyway. So if she's already 6-starred, it's very easy. You need a very small amount to get her the effective HP that she needs to survive the first attack, but die on the second, on the jump when the boss jumps at the middle. But yeah, this is the Viking here. He needs to be the second slowest on the team. So he's plus 31 speed at the moment. These are the total runes on him. If I had like defense or HP here, I wouldn't have needed to grind any of these stats at all. Like none of these would have to be grinded at all. Like 30, you don't need 30 HP, you don't need this. Like literally just having another HP or defense rune, even at 5-star level, is the equivalent. Like it's the same thing. And he's on the back line anyway, but yeah. So he needs to survive each attack. You need to make sure he has plenty of HP, and he is full fight. What you're going to have trouble with in this team too is just getting a bunch of crap runes. I would recommend farming the Fire Rift Beast and then crafting the high grade runes, actually, where you need to use the purple, pink crystal things. They're harder to farm, but I would do 10 to 20 of those just to potentially get stuff that will help your Lauren and your Jansen in keeping them alive. You could get an HP or defense percentage rune. So there's that. Then the next monster, the next whatever that needs to go is actually Dagora. So Dagora will never get a turn, but there's some auto sync issue where if you put the Dagora between the Bailigar and the Jansen, there's no desyncing in either of the three teams. For whatever reason, if he's slower, then apparently something can go off. I don't know why that doesn't make any sense to me. I don't understand how coding works. There must be something in the code where that just helps everything run more smoothly. But since he never gets a turn, it doesn't really make any sense. But again, yeah, it is what it is. So I put whatever I needed to here in terms of speed, just upgraded it to where I needed to. And then he's just sitting here with whatever. This could be like a 1-star rune, literally a 1-star will rune. This is just what I had, and this is not a good rune anyway, so this is what ended up on him. So yeah, he's sitting there. And my units are a little faster than they need to be because my speed tower is not high at all. I'll show the towers at the end of this. So the Bailigar is then the next slowest unit in the team. So far we've gone over the leader skills, the fire crit rate leader skill, the fire attack leader skill, and the global crit rate leader skill here. So those three, and then the next unit in the team is the Dark Jansen, that's next slowest, and then Dagora, and then now we're at the Bailigar. So the Bailigar needs to be sitting just basically 2 speed above Dagora, but if your speed tower is level 15, you need to have plus 27. Mine is not there, so I went 6 higher, and I can just show that right away too. So mine is at level lower. So at 15, it's 11.5 speed. Where I'm at now, it's 5% speed, so I'm missing 6.5%. So I just went ahead and made my Bailigar 6 speed faster, which is not hard. I mean, that's really not hard to do. And since I did that, it's actually, my team is flawless. You actually do need to hit a certain speed in this, for this team, which is pretty strange, but it was actually, the boss was cutting in between my team, and my Jansen was not reviving, and the boss was hitting my team again after the jump, and I was wiping. So your speed actually does matter. It can't just be, the right turn order. It has to be a certain amount of speed and then in the right turn order. So the Bailigar's runes are here. Attack, crit damage, and attack percentage with these stats here. Now, if you'll notice, this rune here has crit damage. There are 2 rolls of crit damage. That's really important to get that stuff on your slot 2, slot, pretty much everything. Slot 3 is actually the worst rune I have on him, This is the slot that can't get attack percentage. You'll never be able to grind it on. So if you can get, 19, 20, 21% crit damage, that's a huge boost. If you could get 3 rolls, if you could get, 26% or higher, 26 to 28 or something like that, that's really, really good to be in that range right there. And then you can grind on whatever else you need. If you need extra speed or HP, defense percentage, or even crit rate. If you need crit rate, you can do that here on this run. I threw on crit damage. That helped to make sure that the run was solid. I probably didn't need to do that, but this run really should have more crit damage anyway. But yeah, just stuff like this, just making sure the crit damage is high, because you can just grind on attack percentage. This was an event rune, so it just rolled a little bit poorly after the event, I guess. It's not bad. It's still not bad. This is literally 1 speed here. So I mean, I could get more speed. But yeah, for an event rune, it was a little lackluster. The crit damage rune here is probably the best rune on him. It's very nice. 30% attack there is huge. And then making sure that you have the speed. This was just getting speed on here because I needed to make sure that I had whatever I needed. And I think this was maybe a green gem. I think I used a green gem here. That's 2 to 4 speed that you get. And then I used a purple speed thing here just to make sure that I had the right speed. And then a little crit rate. And then this one is not amazing either, but it's got great tank stats. And so he turned out really nice. The runes are here with this one. The attack effect up helps. The additional damage by 6% of attack helps. Additional damage stuff procs higher when you have multiple, like a multi-hitting skill. And Bailigar's skill does hit 3 times, so there is an actual effect there. Crit damage up as more enemy max HP definitely helps too, because you're doing more damage on the first like wave through. I don't know if there's something in Bailigar's skill where he gets more damage over time every time he uses that skill or something, but I've noticed it goes from 34,000 on the first jump or the first skill to then the second time using skill 3 it's like 36.5k. So there's something built into that skill, but this doesn't really matter either. He should have almost full health the whole time. Crit damage is less enemy max HP is not great. The crit damage on skill 3 is huge though. If you can get this on this slot, that will help a lot. And then extra additional damages, of course, great. So yeah. The Bailigar, these are great runes for Bailigar. This one especially, when you're looking at stuff like this that your only non-grindable stat has no rolls into it, and it looks like this could potentially be a great Bailigar rune because you only need 62% crit rate or whatever. So it's pretty helpful. Another thing before I look at Lauren and Colleen, you can use a Lapis or like an Elsharion lead too if you put like just terrible fight runes on it again, and you can have a global crit rate or a global attack power leader skill. And that is if you are running with people that have pretty much a Rika. So Rika has 38%. That's why every Bailigar needs to be at 62%, is if you run into stuff like this. So if you have an Elsharion, I can go to the global attack leader skills. Common. So Elsharion here is probably the highest one and a free-to-play option. If you pull him, I would recommend just building an Elsharion and using it for other purposes. I wouldn't necessarily spend 500 ancient coins on a leader skill, you know what I mean? But everyone gets Lapis. There's other stuff here too. If you run into that, you can just use Lauren. You could just use a Lauren leader skill, and she's got 18% extra there. So you don't even necessarily have to go out of your way to make a different one, like a Lapis or something. But just to keep that in mind, like you can just use Lauren if you run into a situation like that. But again, you can, basically have an extra Lapis that's sitting at like 4-star level 1 and just has fight runes on it for that particular scenario. So yeah, the Lauren is the next unit in the team. An issue I had was that I was accidentally throwing my Violent Lauren in, so definitely make sure that you're looking at the Lauren you're putting in before you start the runs. I was super confused as to why my runs were failing, and I noticed that I had the wrong Lauren, and they're right next to each other or whatever. So it was a little weird, but these are the stats for the Lauren that I use. It is on defense, crit damage, HP, with these stats here. These are relatively good runes. I mean, relatively good for BJR5 at least. This isn't maxed, even like these aren't maxed. The artifacts are also not maxed. You do not even have to go for a crit damage Lauren. I would recommend it, especially for someone like me that doesn't have max towers. And again, I will get to the towers in a minute here. But I don't have max towers, so I have to get even better runes than other people do that would have max towers. So bringing a crit damage Lauren in can help alleviate a little bit of the damage, but it's a negligible amount. It's really not. It's not that much. It's much more important to make sure that she survives and has the right amount of speed, like a bunch of HP, a bunch of defense, and the correct speed is the most important part. And then you need 15 accuracy on stuff in Rift Raid, just to put that out there. You can't run a Lauren with like 10% accuracy, or you might end up failing your runs. She has to have 15% or more. So and that's not hard to hit, guys. Like, that's really very easy. And then the last unit on the team here is Colleen. So these are her total stats. She is sitting with speed there, crit damage, and HP. Obviously, you don't want to bring the HP up, or she would survive that jump the boss does. But really, just the speed here is what matters. I actually had to grind off 800 flat HP here for attack, because this rune is never going to be used anywhere else, literally ever. I'm never going to move this rune. It just didn't have any potential. I only plus 15 because I needed the speed for Colleen. She's got these here too. She's got on her defense, so I guess you could like not run artifacts, and you could just have her, well, like plus 9, plus 12, plus 9 or plus 12. It all depends on your towers and your runes and stuff. I have 0 levels into my HP tower, so when I start upgrading that, I'll have to come back and look into these teams here. That's something you need to do too when you're building a BJR5 team, or really any team, but definitely BJR5. You have to make sure that certain things don't have effective HP that's too high. The upgrading those towers can actually push me up, so I could potentially end up having a Colleen that survives with like 2 health, and then the runs are screwed up. So that's a little thing to watch out for as well. But really, all that matters on her is the speed. So yeah, that's all of the runes here. Again, I can show the Bailigar runes. You need to make sure that the attack is where it needs to be. The effective HP I found was very easy. You really don't need that much. I mean, you can max these out, and it's 160 defense there, and I think it's 2,400 HP here, which is a lot. It helps a lot with these stats if you need to do that. These always need to be attack. The artifacts 100% have to be attack. But getting the crit damage on, I think, is probably the hardest part for people. Yeah, but if your stats are too low, if your Bailigar is not doing enough damage, don't push that onto someone else. Like, if your Bailigar is doing 30,000, you're probably going to be failing runs for people in global, in the random public rift raids. Like, you have got to hit at least that. I would shoot for 33,000 just to be safe. I have 34, but try not to screw other people over, guys. It's really not that cool. You can just keep farming the runes and find better upgrades and then go in. He is sitting with 8% less crit damage than possible here, and 6% less attack possible here. Again, the speed tower is like 10 levels too low, so I had to get 6 extra speed on some stuff. Guardstone is sitting at 16%. You should have that up for your Tricaru anyway. The HP one has not been touched yet, and the Fire Sanctuary is sitting at 8% extra attack and missing 13% attack there. So I'm missing, 13, 6, 19% attack and 8% crit damage, so 27%? I think I'm missing 27% damage from 27% damage from towers, so that didn't need to get made up in runes, but luckily I was able to make that up. So anyway, if there's something I missed or I need to clarify anything, always feel free to leave comments, guys. But that's all for this video, and thank you guys for coming out to watch today.